Welcome to HPE 155 Health Fitness class at Oral Roberts University. I am Coach Eric Hudgens, and I am honored to get to be your instructor this semester. And as you embark on this semester, here's where I'd like to start. And I've also done this myself, where we just take time and look over our schedule specific to this semester and identify our weekly routines that we intend and plan to have in relationship to those weekly routines. So I know I'm teaching this class at this time, and so that's one of my weekly routines. In relationship to that and other obligations throughout the day, throughout the week, identify how we would fuel our body in order to have the energy necessary to function optimally in those obligations, those daily tasks, classes, whatever we're planning to commit to. I'm assuming we're committing to be present and a present version of ourselves that expresses our energies, our abilities, and just kind of the best version of ourselves would require energy from fuel that gives our body energy, but even our brain. It's a caloric burning, operation going on there as well. So even if it's class, I still might need a certain type of fuel or readiness for that class. So this is, I like to call, an efficient eating plan. It's not necessarily focused strictly on a nutritional goal of a particular weight to reach or certain diet to follow, but it is expressing like some ideas on how to approach the day so that when we get to the day, we have some sort of plan and sense of preparedness or readiness for what we're going to be doing that day. I'll use this example. If you ever heard this saying, don't go shopping when you're hungry. Like, everything looks good. Things that, oh man, I might make that. I'll cook that later, and we never end up getting to it and it goes bad. Or it's just, food items that end up in the cart that really weren't part of our plan, but yet we were so hungry we just threw that in there because it changed our perspective and how to respond to the moment that we're in. And so having a little bit of a plan is the intention of this first assignment. So basically, if you'll just simply make a schedule, it could be on an Excel sheet, it could be on a calendar, it could be handwritten, it could be typed up, and you'll submit it to Dropbox under the concept of an efficient eating plan. So what does it look like? Basically, real simple. Like, look at your day and get a time system going, and then what your activities are, and then one more with this and this and this. Those are the key times I'm going to fuel, or maybe even have more than that. Some of us are, as little as don't eat until after noon and have 2 meals a day. Some of us are on the other spectrum where, like myself, I'm probably eating 5, maybe 6 times a day, but I have very long, extended days full of activity. So that would be a different spectrum than some. Some might be very common to just 3 meals a day. Whatever that is, you're actually identifying when that meal would be and where would you be at to embrace that meal. Would that be, or fuel intake, is that something I'm carrying with my person midday? Is it something I might pick up at a particular location on campus, or is it something I'm at home and making, or in the dorms and heating up, or just have on the shelf ready to eat? These are you get to create what you feel would be a good routine. And again, it doesn't mean we're gonna keep it. It's something we're gonna try for at least the first week or two, see how it fits within that planned schedule, if that works, and if it doesn't, and adjustments are going to be need to be made. So make those adjustments as you go. And that's the point. Our health journey is a ongoing, ever-changing mystery to figure out. And figuring out what works best for us in the season we're in, that's the real goal. And so starting our semester off with some foresight on what our needs are going to be, and that way we are more likely to meet those needs. Because health, if we were to define it, it's a state of complete physical, which embraces the ability to be mentally and I think socially in a state of well-being. It's not Health isn't the absence of disease or infirmity or being, not sick, but health is like a fullness in our physical being, our mental state, and our social interactions with others. So, as we're approaching the semester in a health class, I would hope that maybe we find optimal levels of our health. We might call this wellness. Wellness has been used to refer to the states of optimal physical, mental, and emotional health. Wellness is a state in which we have some key things. Is thriving basically. So there's a zest for life. We're motivated and we're like taking on challenges like academics and a job and other obligations, and we're thriving because we have those challenges to interact with, to embrace, and to work through. And we even have an enhanced energy and vigor to pursue those challenges and new experiences in the season we're in. Another attribute of wellness is a way of living that maximizes our potential for those tasks. We're aware of our strengths and we choose to highlight and maximize them. So, this whole fueling plan doesn't need to be something that prevents us from doing the things we're good at and enjoying the things we like. It's really how do we implement those so that they complement our day. Another attribute is a sense of meaning and purpose. When we attach significance to what we're pursuing, it's as if we can see how our life is contributing or adding to some end goal. A lot of us pursue academics because there's a end goal of having the education and the readiness to take on the world in a certain fashion, whether that is in whatever your undergrad pursuit is, or your master's degree pursuit, or postgraduate degree pursuit, but just the sense that whatever I'm doing has this end goal, and it's a part of something that is bigger than myself. That's kind of the next one, a sense of social responsibility. We're a part of a larger social network, and we choose to act in a manner that benefits the whole, and not just it's not just about us. And the final characteristic that really comes to mind in wellness is skills that we will develop and evolve into having in our bag, so to speak, skills that help us adapt to challenges of an ever-changing environment, ability to cope and react in the face of adversity, because within the huge world change of a pandemic, or even just the fact of weather changes throughout a season, and different classes that we take that have portions of them that are more challenging than others, being able to adapt, or better yet respond well to those, and with a sense of autonomy, or I guess a sense of self-efficacy. It's like the ability, I have something to put forth and a role to play in this that makes a difference. So that's the goal, is to enhance our overall wellness. And this is encompassing the benefits of and the practices of exercise and nutrition and stress management. Um, Emotional self-regulation is a very powerful skill that we can talk about and reflect on and develop. Having a sense of support system, social support, and overall, like identifying that we are growing and becoming something that God has set aside for us specifically, uniquely, and individually to become, because each of us have this specific, unique, individualized calling that He's bestowed upon us out of His love for us. So, yeah, research on embodied cognition also suggests that the state of the body is crucial to how our minds function. So, again, looking at the scaffolding of I have certain routines and obligations I'm committing to. I can fuel my body in preparation for that, and I can prepare my body for greater physical demands or energy demands by embracing exercise routines that both challenge and stimulate a resilience in me. And that's what this class will implement, not in an overwhelming way, definitely in a way that's a healthy progression gradually throughout the semester. I want to talk about a couple other words that might have a little bit of depth or different meanings, but there's a word called altruism. It's the feeling of compassion for other people, and it's also related to having better health. So it is acting on those feelings as a contributor to health benefits. It's hard to give somebody something if you don't have it. And so a good example is, well, there's a quote that says, hurt people. And I'd like to move more towards being whole and healed, because healed people can help heal people. And so it's, behaviors such as, interacting with others in a voluntary fashion, random acts of kindness, these moments and seasons in life when we feel so full, almost overflowing with the needs that we have met, that we can't help but overflow or share them with others. So, looking at our health as, if I can increase the longevity of my life and the fullness of my life through things like physical exercise and spiritual practices, like going to religious services, church and youth meetings and Bible studies, and just steering clear of toxic things that could harm my health. I'm basically embracing a life that is it's bigger than myself. And I think this next word is really the experience of it. It's happiness. Happiness. It can sound cliche, but experimental studies found that laughter can increase our everything. Our antibodies that help fight off infections, our immune system, increasing our natural disease fighting killer cells, and it lowers our blood pressure. It calms our spirit, obviously. But yeah, our well-being is more harmonized as we embrace a life and participate in things that bring happiness to us, that we in turn get to share with others. There's studies on people who score high on a sense of a humor scale also tend to score high on measure of optimism, extrovert, like actually putting themselves out there, extroversion, the capacity for being close to others, intimacy is enhanced, and then basically we end up having fewer anxious thoughts or doubts, self-doubts especially. So this is pretty simple. It's just things that make us laugh is a benefit, things that we enjoy, that we find fun in the midst of, for me, like physical performance or physical exertion can release a ton of tension and rejuvenate the creativity of the brain to perform more creatively and freely. And so figuring out what activities that are physically challenging but both cognitively and emotionally stimulating in a positive way, that would be our goal. And I mean, even just anything like walking or jogging for 10 minutes can be an attention, not just a tension release, but an endorphin release, and it's a major contributor to stimulating and knowing more consistently happiness and harmony in our body. So again, let me say, our body's a mystery to figure out. I don't have all the answers. This class isn't designed to where there's exact right and wrongs. There are quizzes and there are labs to do, but the goal is to determine the best lifestyle that incorporates physically, mentally, spiritually, that enhances our health in this season of life we're in. I think if you could just look at throughout your day, there's 4 maxims, 4 key things. Moving naturally. Our body craves movement. Motion is lotion to the joints and the muscles and the tendons. Movement is improvement. Taking steps and taking the body through some range of motion every day, especially ranges of motions that aren't common when we sit here and do, computer type stuff. So moving naturally is the first one. The second one is keeping a healthy outlook and attitude. What lens do you view your current and upcoming obligations and experiences through? And with a healthy outlook and attitude, it's one that sometimes needs to be spirit-led, right? There's a transformation within us that no matter how hard we try, it's not ours to change. It's something we trust in His presence to move in us to change. And it's why common Christian practice is morning prayer, morning Bible study, something that moves and shifts my eyes and my attention and my senses towards a presence greater than I, more loving than I can ever be, and who has it all figured out already. And so that second maxim is keeping that healthy outlook and attitude. And some of it's not so much what we do, but how much we lean or trust in Him to do in us. And by being attentive to who He is and how faithful He is. And I believe the word holiness is really an ever-increasing dependence on God. And that doesn't mean I don't do anything. It's just I am experiencing life's ups and downs through a faithful presence and watching and experiencing and embracing all of the working and faithfulness that He has in my life, despite all of the challenges and hard times. And so obviously when challenges do arise, seen through that lens, it's a unique peace, a unique sense of like power and purpose, power to work through it, and a purpose that this is going to become something, so it's worth working through it. The third maxim is eat wisely, and that is what it is right now. We have a set point on what our fueling has been routinely and habitually, and we're embarking on a semester where it's like let's take some autonomy on that and really look at how does our body respond to fueling this way versus what if we made these adjustments. Now how does the body respond? And not to mention being aware of certain factors of health that we want to start implementing or start taking out of our diet so that we aren't uh, putting ourselves on a fast track towards health problems later, but perhaps actually pushing health problems away later in life. That's the third one is eating wisely, and I think hydration goes along with this. Fueling throughout the day with things other than just a meal, like having an orange or a banana or an apple throughout the day can just be something that it where something dies so that something lives. That's a faith-based concept, and it goes along with our food as well. The fourth and final maxim for the semester I encourage us to embrace is connecting with others. And so this class being as virtual or in person as it is, there'll be discussion boards and an opportunity to really connect with each other and me. And then I'm also using this app that we will be able to directly and quickly upload video content and chat back and forth. And so I'm looking forward to connecting with you, and also looking at connecting with others that are people in my life that I value so much. But let's be honest, it's easy to like not pick up the phone or reach out, and so that's a huge commitment in every semester to reach out to my grandmother, to my friends in Virginia, to North Carolina, to Minnesota, to California, and to stay connected and sharing this life journey. And a lot of people are part of it, even if they're a short phone conversation once a month or every couple of weeks. So connecting with others, and even a small, very close group, a tribe, if you will, that you really belong to. Obviously, we have our family, or a church youth group, or a church Bible study, or whatever that is. I mean, it's so beautiful to see how communities evolve and come together. So in health, our potential, I hope you realize, is actually later in life. And so it's hard to comprehend this if we're young. So if you're 20 and you can't really see 80 years old, that would be 4 of your lifetimes. But realistically, your life health potential is in your around 30s. So looking at 20 as if like this isn't the peak yet, okay? Keep building up towards that peak, and better yet, understand that the habits that we embrace along that peak, they are what sustain us after we're over the peak. And will that be something that if we built our on the sand, our castle on the sand, there's a common health problem in all cultures, but especially in America, just where we hit our peak and it's almost a drop. We start to experience all of the onset of degenerative health issues. And so if those steps along our peak though have strong foundational, like rock building up, that gives us a plateau that we actually sustain a health or a slight decline as we progress into our second half of this life, if you will, the physical part that has been weighed down by gravity all this time. So looking at your decisions, our decisions at a young age, is going to be a huge impact in later in life. And it's something like money. I mean, the investment early has greater dividends later. Investment late is still an investment, but the dividends aren't as great. So that's why I'm so passionate about this. I've seen it, I've experienced it. I know people, young and old, that I've gotten to connect with by being a part of their health journey. And all in all, I just greatly appreciate or use philosophy specifically, but the notion that health is holistic. And as we practice habits that develop and maximize our health, we're not only going to potentially live just longer, but fuller, more productive lives. I mean, it's hard to imagine not a physical body at 80, but how much of your spirit has been shared with the world and those whom you love, and to still get to be a part of that and see it blossom all the way down to grandkids and great grandkids and all of the people along the way. That's fullness that to be present in would be really special. My life goal is my grandmother. She's 87 currently, and her presence, being in her presence, is a very peaceful place. That's not always easy to find. And man, I would really like to be that to whoever is in need of that when I'm at that age. Not so distracted by health concerns, but to be so, I guess, healthy that I can actually be present with whomever I share life with in that season of life. My personal mission statement as a professor here at ORU is encouraging students to have that positive perspective on the expectations to pursue excellence that ORU upholds, in hopes that we develop an awareness of a healthy lifestyle that really frees us from health distractions. And then we're allowed to freely and fully embrace whatever our life passions are, whatever God puts on our heart, instead of distracted by concerns that our health we could have prevented. We get to fully embrace them. So cheers to a healthy lifestyle, free from health distractions, and liberated with an enhanced well-being, enabling us to fully embrace life's passions in this semester. I am grateful to be here. I do want to kind of point out that being an ORU alum, and having a long experience and career both as an athlete and as a coach, and as I coach my grandmother. So working with a wide spectrum of people, I believe in a therapeutic approach to a high performance arena, and it starts with the whole person approach. So to give you a little insight, after finishing my degree in health and physical education here at Oral Roberts University, I got certified to teach kindergarten through 12th grade PE, physical education. I completed prerequisites for PT school because I considered going to physical therapy school afterwards to get my doctorate in PT. But instead I followed the teaching track, and I've taught for 20 years throughout little kids, 3-4-year-olds, how not to fall down, to collegiate coach and professor, and everything between, elementary, middle school PE, high school PE, and varsity sports at the high school level. Throughout those years, I started a youth club and implement a lot of the physical therapy type practices or rehabilitations and post rehab exercises, as I realized youth are exposed to all these array of injuries. And so I am confident that a lot of the kids I get to work with are experiencing like a consistency in their health and wellness and injury prevention, or enjoying their like physical prowess because of our mindfulness to move holistically and embrace a variety of movements, not just one specific one. And so in the process of preparing for our best, we actually embrace challenges that are somewhat like, deeper ranges of motion, strength training, preparing a resilience in our physical being, and then also our social and spiritual side, recognizing how connected all of this is, and seeing the resilience in these young people and the connection and compassion they have for one another. Well, it's a real joy, and it's something that I hope we get to experience as a health class community. And I am honored again to be your professor and look forward to this sharing this semester with you. So looking forward to it. Grace and peace. Blessings.